I am Rhiannon Edwards, a young adult paranormal and fantasy author, and today's video is a big one. Maybe it's not quite a confession because some people already know. It's not like I've kept it a secret, but I have decided something big about my life and where I want it to go, in the direction I want to go in next. So listen up and I will explain everything to you. Let's cut a story short and say the words. I have quit my job. Yes, I used to teach. If you've watched any of my videos before, you will know that I've been a primary school teacher for several years now, and I have been on maternity leave after having my second child, my daughter, in March. So I basically decided to quit. Now, before we carry on talking about quitting, that's not exactly how I see as what I've done. I haven't necessarily quit insofar as I have chosen to pursue something else and leaving something that didn't bring me joy, or just, it didn't bring me anything anymore apart from angst and anxiety and worry, and it just wasn't great for me in my headspace. So let's talk about those reasons why, so you can see, and then let's talk about how I plan to move forward as you might think I've become a full-time author, but I have 2 young children to look after, so I think we could probably count myself as a part-time author, but this is now my only job. And of course that brings about a lot of pressures, doesn't it, in terms of like finance and providing for a family. So what I did was free myself so that I could fully pursue this writing career that I have wanted and yearned for ages, but put to one side because that's not what society tells you that you should do. You say you want to be an author, it's the same as other people saying, I want to be a musician, I want to be an actor. For some reason, these passions of ours almost get dismissed because they're not proper jobs. But yet, let's look around us. How many people do we see in the TV and on movies? How many people do we listen to? How many people do we read? There are people who do these things as their jobs. So of course it's possible. Why are we holding ourselves back because of what society thinks that we should do? Firstly, I am feeling so much lighter and so much better from what I've done. I put in my notice so that I technically left my job at the end of December. Now I'm on maternity leave, so my maternity would have ended in February, but being a teacher, we can only leave at certain points of the year. So I decided to leave in December. And there were a few reasons for that. I was starting to feel really panicked every time I thought about going back. And that just sort of built and built and built until I sort of broke down and talked to my husband, and he was really supportive, and we agreed that I just wouldn't go back. So one of the biggest reasons, because it wasn't just a clear cut, I'm leaving teaching to pursue writing. There were so many factors that played a part in it. As I'm sure many of you have found, there's many factors in many decisions. It isn't always a really clear-cut choice. But for me, one of the biggest things was my mental health. It was failing. It is failing. I'm just working on it now. So quitting my job, leaving my job was such a big monumental decision for me, and it didn't come without its consequences. Of course it is. Such a life-changing decision like that isn't going to come without consequences. You know, we're talking about one of the biggest ones is finance. So now the entire financial pressure burden rests on my husband's shoulders and his wage. And I do appreciate that I'm very lucky that it wasn't a straightforward, no, I can't afford not to return to work. His wage can support us both for only so long because, you know, it doesn't cover everything. We've got some savings, and obviously we work hard. We don't want to live, you know, paycheck to paycheck. We want to have some nice things in our life. So of course, and we do have a lot of childcare problems right now as well. Like, fine, oh, childcare is so expensive, isn't it? But, you know, that's a big burden to bear on my husband, and he's taken that on because that's just the kind of guy he is. And, you know, that's probably one of the biggest consequences here. There's other little ones and niggly ones, but that's the biggest one, is the pressure on him. But there's a big reason why I decided to leave my job. So I touched on mental health, and I just, you know, some people might say, oh, she couldn't cope. Maybe I couldn't. I am part of that statistic about teachers. There's so many teachers leaving after 5 years, and I made it to 7, but I had some maternity leave in there, so maybe we could say about 5. I am one of those statistics. And you know what the other thing was? One of the biggest issues again was my children. I had these 2 beautiful children. Our children are our world, and we want them to have the best opportunities for them, whatever those opportunities, whatever their wishes and dreams and wants are, we want that for them. And there I was, feeling how I was, with this passion and yearning inside for writing, and I was just ignoring that. How can I expect my children to reach for their dreams and strive to be the best person they can be and to get everything that they want if I'm not doing the same? So, as cliche as it sounds, for them to be the best that they can be, for me to be the best I can be for my children and the best role model that I can be for them, I had to put me first, and I had to think about what I truly want. And when I listen deep down to what I want, it's being an author. So that's what I am doing. Definitely not going to get emotional during this, don't worry. Okay, so I left because of mental health issues, and I left because I want to show my children what it means to strive and dream and wish and want. And I personally want to try this. And, you know, me and my husband sat down and we thought, we're at a place in our lives where it's probably now. It's now or never. I've mentioned this several times, but I follow Heart Breathings, and I have followed Sarah Cannon's HB90 method, and I also took part in her Publish and Thrive course. And she often talks about you go where you're looking. And I just thought, yeah, I am not looking, I'm not focusing on this path, because I'm thinking, if we're being honest, it was fear. Fear held me back. Fear of what? Fear of failure, fear of society and what they might think of me. Fear of all this held me back so much. And then I had my children, and then the biggest fear was them seeing me as a failure. Now, success and failure is so subjective and personal. And for me, failure wouldn't be trying out this author career and it not working out. That is obviously a worry, but that's not my fear. My fear is not trying at all. My fear is them seeing this passion inside of me and me not going for it. Because it's a scary thing, especially with the creative industry. So we're talking about, so for me, I'm in this writing industry, and then there's also there's acting and art and music and just all this creative stuff. And I think we are the kind of people that put a bit of our soul into our craft. That's probably how I was with teaching. I felt like I was just putting my soul into it. And there comes a point when you don't get anything back from it anymore, and it's not necessarily your passion, and you can't put your soul into something that is not your passion. I don't think you can anyway, not without sacrificing true happiness. So that's a little bit where I'm at. I'm sorry it went a little bit emotional there, but it's a really big factor and a really big point in why I left my job. I think first of all, it was my mental health and not being in the right state of mind. I am suffering with anxiety and postnatal depression, and you know, I am on medication, I am going through counselling, I am doing as many steps as I can to get better. And I may not always feel like this, and never say never. I absolutely adore working with children. There is no reason why when my children reach school age that I can't still be a part-time writer and go back into schools part-time as like a TA or something. But at the same time, our lives could change like that if we're not careful. And so I don't want fear to hold me back. I don't want fear of, oh, but what about this? What about that? What about the future? The future's so important, but sometimes working towards a future we want takes sacrifices now in the present. And boy, are we going through some sacrifices right now in terms of money. It's a big, scary change, leaving something that you know, leaving something that's secure, and going into this big, unknown, vast. I have never been unemployed. I'm technically self-employed now, aren't I? And that's really big and really scary, and I didn't think I'd be the kind of person that would do that at all. But I was hiding behind that protection, and that wasn't what I wanted to model to my children, nor to myself. This year, I'm all into this like manifesting thing, which is like manifesting what you want and dreaming for what you want. I watched something online that said, if you knew you couldn't fail, would your dreams be bigger? And I was thinking about that, and I thought, do you know what? Yeah, I think they would be. So, of course, I'm now all into this manifesting that I'm going to earn loads of money, and we're going to have a really nice house, and we're going to have somebody that can do all the housework because I suck at that, and do all the cooking because I suck at that too. And, you know, we get to go on these nice holidays. We get to give our kids these experiences that we really want them to have. You know, I'd love to have like Netflix deals. Like, who wouldn't want to have a Netflix deal? So I am manifesting big things, and I am dreaming big, because if I don't, I'll never achieve that. I'm not just going to land in that area, am I? I have to work there. I want to be successful. I want to show my kids what that is. And if being successful is doing something I love and bringing in enough money to support my family, then that is the best thing I could ever ask for. If that doesn't happen, I haven't failed because I worked for it. And I'm getting emotional because the thought that I nearly let this opportunity pass me by, the thought that actually my failures could have been worse than my author career not working out. My failures could have been not trying at all. Oh, that really gets to me, and I'm so mad at myself for nearly letting that happen. But I haven't. I'm not. I am working hard. I have the best husband ever. He is willing and happy to support us and support my dreams. I don't know what I'd do without him. Well, I obviously wouldn't be able to have this opportunity without him, so I cannot forget that. But I am willing to fail in some people's eyes, because that's not how I see failure. What if I didn't fail, guys? What if I survived? And more importantly, what if I thrived? What if I thrived? That's the best feeling I have. That hope, that dream of thriving. So guys, follow me on this journey and let's see what we can achieve together. I would love to have you as a viewer, so please hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you over on Instagram. I'm on there a lot. I'd love to see you read my books and tell me what you think about them. They are my world, the things that I pour into from myself into those books. And I would just love to see you here again. So thank you very much for listening to my emotional talk about leaving my job and pursuing a dream. I hope you all are pursuing your dreams, whatever they are. Get rid of all those fears of failure. Get rid of all those fears that other people have put on you. Just rip free of them. What's important to you? What does failure mean for you? What does success mean for you? And manifest it, work for it, work hard for it, small steps, All you need is a small step every day and you are still moving forward. I think that's one of the biggest things I can say to you right now. It doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be drastic. One small step is still a step in the right direction. I'll see you guys again soon, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bearing my soul a little bit here. Okay, bye guys.